Hey guys, it's Michelle. It's Sunday, and I'm just doing my vlog today. I didn't vlog yesterday. Yesterday I went up half a pound, and today I'm down a pound. So my weight, let me get this right, is 156.0. So that's pretty great. And I'm just trying to enjoy the process. I'm wondering if it's really a good idea to weigh every single day. The reason I say that is because the fluctuations, are natural and they're happening to everybody. And, when you go up a little bit, I don't know if that's great for the psyche or not. I used to weigh myself when I was dieting before, in a sort of an old style of dieting. I would weigh once a week. And that way you got a real clear picture, you really got to look at a week's worth of loss, as opposed to the sort of daily fluctuations, because if I only weighed myself once a week, I wouldn't have known that I went up half a pound and then down a pound. I would just know what I lost for the week. So anyway, I'm sort of bouncing that idea around. I do look forward to getting up every morning though, because I'm always hoping for good news. One thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was why I chose to do injections instead of the drops. I know a lot of you guys do the drops, and the reason I didn't do the drops is because there's this stuff called Hoodia, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. It's basically been used for hundreds of years or maybe even thousands in South Africa, and it's a part of a cactus that really depresses your appetite. So when hunters are out and they're hunting for days on end, they're able to go with less food. But real Hoodia, the real stuff, is very hard to come by. And what they do is they make drops, right? So I bought the Hoodia drops, and they didn't make a dent. So when I heard about HCG drops, and then when I heard that Walmart sold them, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Because I just felt like that's just going to be watered down crap. So I looked and searched and looked and searched, and I personally come to the conclusion that if this HCG stuff is going to work for me, I want to make sure that I have the best possible delivery of it. So when I first found out about injections, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do injections. So I just started watching the mixing videos and how to mix it. And it is so simple. It's just that you're not used to having a mixing syringe in your hand and a vial and a sterile vial and this. But if you watch the videos a few times, you start really getting comfortable with what they're doing. It's just incredibly simple. It's more simple than baking a cake. It's just real simple. Anyway, so that's why I decided to go with injections, and then I researched and tried to figure out how to do it myself. So I bought the HCG through someone I had seen on YouTube, and because I had watched her videos, I felt comfortable buying the HCG from her. Basically, what it is you're not really buying it from her, but she's an affiliate. So she gets a little kickback when you buy it. So you go through her link, and then you end up over at I think mine was called Reliable RX Pharmacy or something like that. Anyway, I checked it out if I went without her link, and it was the same price. So I figured I want to give this woman the kickback she deserves. She's given me some information. So I bought it that way, and then I went and bought all the mixing supplies here and there. I bought the diabetic needles from Amazon, and I bought the mixing syringes from Mama Clock, who some of you may know on YouTube, and then I bought the alcohol wipes from Target. So that was no big deal. Anyway, I feel like for me that the injections are precise, and I don't have to rethink what I'm doing or worry that it's all being ingested or not ingested. I know it's being ingested. So that's why I decided to go with the injections. I just wanted the precision, and I also wanted to make sure that HCG was a really good brand. And the brand that I'm buying is Corian, which is a Swiss brand, but it's sold through an Indian pharmacy. But I know a lot of people on YouTube that use this pharmacy, and they use this Corian, and I believe that it's authentic and real, and I'm happy. I also add to my injections B12, which I also bought from Reliable RX or whatever that pharmacy is. So I was able to, what I do is I mix. I fill up a week's worth of B12 in the needles, and I put them back together and put them in the fridge. And then every morning I get up and I add the HCG each morning to the needle I'm going to use for the day, because I'm not comfortable with leaving them mixed for up to 7 days. I just feel like it's probably going to be more strong or more potent if I just add it at the last minute. So that's the way I do it. So I take about 20 units. I'm down a little bit on the HCG, 20 units of HCG with 25 to 28 units of B12. If I were to do it again, I would have bought a lot more B12, because the B12 is really cheap. I really wish I had bought more B12, but I'm trying to make what I did buy spread out, because when you buy it from India, it took 2 weeks exactly from the day I ordered to the day it arrived, which I thought was pretty good timing. But I wish I had gone back and bought a lot more of the B12. Anyway, if I make another purchase of HCG, I'll definitely buy a lot more B12 just for the heck of it. It's nice to have it around, and it's good stuff. So that's why I do the injections. I've also been trying to implement the leptin rules during HCG, because I realized yesterday, I keep complaining that I'm hungry. So last night I just sat in the hunger to see if it was really hunger or if it was emotional. And I just sat in it and sat in it all night last night, really looking at it and really looking at it. And I got to the point where I thought, you know what, there is this zone where I think I'm hungry and I'm not. And it's not me knowing I'm full and like going ahead and overeating. It's me convincing myself that I'm hungry. And I think I've done it so long that I don't sometimes know the difference. So I sat in it all, for hours last night, and I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to implement the leptin rules, because the leptin rules are you don't eat between meals. You want 5 to 6 hours between meals. And it made me remember when I went to France. I was in France for almost 3 weeks, and I wasn't in Paris much of the time. I was mostly in smaller towns. And the way the French eat is very much like the leptin rules. Now they eat carbs, but they don't eat carbs the way Americans eat carbs. They get up in the morning. Now, as far as what they eat in the morning, because I wasn't in anybody's home, I don't know what actually goes on in someone's home and what they make for breakfast. But being out in the like the bakeries and the pastry shops, usually they sit with a cafe au lait, like a coffee with milk in it, and then they have a pastry. And this one pastry lasts them all the way till lunch. So at lunch, which is eaten anytime between 12 and 2, then they have a normal lunch. And then they don't eat, again, the restaurants don't even open till 7. And this is in the bedroom towns. This isn't Paris, where things would be open all the time. At 7 o'clock at night is the earliest that people would possibly go in for dinner. So they're getting a solid, and when I say solid, I mean solid 5 to 6 hours between lunch and dinner. Now, in the afternoon, they will sit and have a coffee or a beer, and I mean a beer. I don't mean like Americans, like let's get a pitcher. They have a nice little beer, or they have a glass of wine, or coffee of some sort, and then they don't eat anything until dinner. So anyway, I just thought about that. The French are pretty trim people. They do eat rich foods, but they don't eat a lot of they don't eat big portions. And They do love their bread. However, they use bread the way that like Latinos use rice, or use rice and beans, or Asians use rice. It's at dinner. It's not heated. There's no butter. It's used sort of to scoop up your food with, so you'd have some meat and then you would sort of eat it with your bread, just the way you would eat your meat with your rice, or with your rice and beans, or potatoes. There's another example. Only Americans have potatoes and bread and butter. Insane. So I think the leptin diet is something I'm going to hook on to a little bit here, because I want to be prepared when I transition. And I don't want it to be all brand new that I'm going to now eat, leptin or whatever. I want to really, really be prepared. So I think the leptin diet, or the leptin rules, really make a lot of sense. And so I'm following them. And then finally, I've been losing weight in my butt, but I have this really weird butt where I have like above my butt crack, I have all this like fat. It's gross. Anyway, my butt is shrinking, but my butt's shrinking below the crack. So I still have this like poof of fat right here, which I would definitely categorize as abnormal fat. So I'm excited, to see what happens to that in the next 10 pounds, because, the weight is coming off top to bottom right now. And I'm excited to see what happens to my butt, 10 pounds from now. Anyway, you guys, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.